Greetings everyone and welcome to Distant Worlds Universe. The Universe expansion pack is actually going to be the wrap-up of the Distant Worlds series, but keep in mind that development will continue. There are plans to take some feedback from the community once this is released and start improving the modding capabilities even further than what they've done for this particular expansion. As far as new stuff, there is the modding support, of course, the expanded modding support, but there's been some tweaks of the main game engine as well as development went on. There were quite a few notes about improved game performance in the late game. Stuff like the galaxy backdrop's been tweaked a bit so it doesn't look so choppy anymore and stuff like that. There's some UI improvements as well throughout the game as well, and we'll be looking at some of that as we go. So if you're new to the series, the first thing I would probably suggest you doing is go through the tutorials. There's a few of them here. There used to be only 4 for the Shadows, but they've expanded it for Universe now. So this will pretty much give you a bit of hands-on tutorials on how to play the game and all the different aspects. Okay. Another place to go if you're new is the Galacticpedia. This thing has absolutely everything in it about the game that you want to know. Pay particular attention to finding your way around and game concepts. So there's a few areas in here you might want to look at. Game screens, which is another one, which will tell you how to use the various screens within the game. So it covers pretty much everything you need to know. Resources, ships and bases, space creatures, government types, and all that kind of stuff. And you can generally get to this by hitting F1. So if you're in a particular screen, say the design screen, you hit F1, it'll bring you in here, or the fleet screen or whatever. It'll bring you into this screen and you can read up on whatever you need to know. Another place to look is, of course, YouTube videos like this one. There's lots of them out there for Shadows, and the Shadows gameplay videos are still relevant. I wouldn't dismiss them just because it's not Universe. Definitely, we'll bring up my YouTube page here for a sec. This is my YouTube page, so if you just click my name at the bottom of this video, you can get here. And I do have some playlists here. Distant World Shadows, pay attention to those. I'm not saying watch all 50 episodes or anything, but if you're new and you just want to get a grasp on the game, then just watch maybe the first 3 or 4, maybe 6, whatever. Because I touch on different aspects of the game in each different series. So I don't really cover any one thing in any one series or everything in any one series. So you'll probably have to sort of go through and pick and choose. But anything labeled Shadows should still be relevant to any gameplay strategies and that. So don't discount the Shadows videos just because they're a bit older. You'll be able to pick up some stuff off of them. And further to that, Das, this gentleman right here, Das24680, if you go to my page, you can get to his page from there. He started a tutorial series specifically for Universe. So if you haven't subscribed to him yet, go on over and subscribe to him and check out his tutorial series. He'll go through all the screens, all the options, and he'll get you fired up and get you going in that regard. So I'm a micromanager myself. I micromanage everything. So if we come into the options, you can see I have my automation mode set to expert. So I'm controlling absolutely everything in the game manually. Okay, you do not have to play the game this way. You can utilize whatever options you want. If you want to concentrate on expansion, just go to expansion mode, and these certain things will be automated and some will be controlled manually. You'll have to control those. So depending on what you want to do with the game, if you want to be a spy master, and then there's some presets for that. War and combat, some presets for that. But like I said, and you can even go rule and absence, where absolutely everything is automated, and you can actually just sit back and watch the game play itself, which is quite unique. And if you're going to do that, you have to make one more setting in here and come down and say suppress all pop-up screens. And that way you won't even have to touch the game at all. It will just go ahead and play itself, and you can just sort of observe. Or you can take control of one ship or one fleet and go do some damage if you want. So you can play it that way. So there's various levels of automation in the game. So you don't have to micromanage like I do, but I do micromanage my entire game. So just a little bit of a blurb on that. Okay. Actually, just come back into options. There's one more thing new here I'll show you that is new with Universe, and that's the message settings. These are the various pop-ups you get within the game, and it's usually ships under attack and research breakthroughs and all that kind of stuff. So this has been greatly expanded for Universe. So now, for instance, if you have civilian ships under attack and you really don't want to know about it, and you can't do much about it if there's nothing in the area anyways, you just have to sort of let them escape if they can or get killed or whatever. So if you don't want to have a pop-up and you don't want to even deal with that, you just click it off. And the pop-ups that do come up now specify what kind of ship is under attack, for instance. If your explorer is under attack somewhere, it's going to say exploration ship whatever is under attack by a frigate. Or a civilian ship, or mining ship is under attack by whatever. So you can pick and choose just by a glance of what kind of ship it is, whether you want to run off and deal with it or just let it go. So these have been greatly enhanced for Universe. So that was a really good option, I guess. So that's it for options. I'm going to be using a theme. This is where you go in to change your different themes or mods. This is basically the mod engine here. This is where you select your mods. I have a few here. The Ancient Galaxy, which ships with Universe. I got a couple of my own custom ones. Harry's going to be releasing his extended universe once the release date comes upon us. I would imagine it won't be too much farther beyond that, but it's still in development, so I'm not going to be playing that one this time. I'm just going to be going with a vanilla game. But I will be using Starlab's graphics. And it's just a simple graphic replacement mod. It doesn't affect the game in any way. It's just some UI buttons and stuff I've replaced. And I've also used some rune picks and other UI elements from Martian's graphic enhancement mod, which was released for Legends, which is actually really old and probably won't work out of the box for Universe. But I picked and choose a few graphics out of that. So because I'm using somebody else's stuff, this particular mod will not be distributed. It's just for my own use. So just to let you know on that. So I will be using that. Okay, I don't think there's a whole lot more to talk about here, so I guess we'll just get into maybe setting up a screen or a game. So we'll start new game, which is going to bring up a new screen for us here. And we have all kinds of preset options now here. If you're a new player coming in, your first reaction is probably going to be to play the first one, but don't do that. This Ancient Galaxy is this is a new storyline that ships with Universe, and it is a very, very busy as soon as you get into it, and will be very intimidating to a new player. So I don't suggest playing that one their first game. The pirates are a different flavor altogether. I'd suggest not maybe starting with pirates. The place I would start with is either the Standard Empire and Age of Shadows or a Classic Era. These are the two I would start if I was a new player. Okay. And these basically, if we click one, takes you in, and there's a few setups you have to do, such as your galaxy and difficulty, the race you want to pick, your government. But that's it. The pirate levels and everything else will be chosen for you, and you won't be able to pick and choose any of that. So we're going to come back. So this is the one I'm going to play. I play all my games in the Age of Shadows, and basically the Age of Shadows, you start off with one planet, and that's it. Okay, you have to build your first spaceport, you have to get hyperdrives, all kinds. You're pretty much restricted to your own solar system for the first part of the game. The classical era, you start with hyperdrives and you have a handful of ships and you're actually out and about in the universe. So you're a little more advanced with the classic era. So either one of these starts is probably good. And I think Das pointed that out, that these are actually the better starts for new players. Or you can come down here and start customize your game as a pirate or as a standard empire. And we're going to customize our game as a standard empire. Okay, so most of this is still looking a lot like what the Shadows was. This is new, though. You can actually browse for maps from other games you've played. For instance, if we hit that button, I can take my last game that I played, and I can load that map. So that'll override these settings here. So if you're going to go with a map that you've previously used, it will allow you to regenerate everything here, and you'll use that map. But if you clear it and not use anything in here, then you're going with whatever settings are here. So for this game, I'm going to go with 700 stars and 10 by 10 sectors. I think that's what I used in my last playthrough. So, and the machine ran pretty good, and then everything was pretty good with that. So I'm going to stick with that. You can have up to 1415 by 15. So I'm just going to go through these quickly, because if you go over to Das's page and you go through the tutorials, he goes through all these options in some good detail. So if you're looking to see exactly what some of these do, go check his video series out. As far as myself, I'm just going to explain what I'm doing. So I'm going to start in PreWarp. Okay, so expansion is PreWarp. And we're going to start with normal technology costs. I'm going to do that because of what I'm doing with the difficulties. The difficulty, I'm going to extreme. And the aggression for other races against me or against each other, I'm going to go to chaos. That's going to make a pretty impossible game, I think, for me. I'm also going to put the space creatures to many, the pirates to very many, and pirate strength to strong. So everything's pretty much maxed out here. So I don't expect to win this game whatsoever. But I do want to prove that you don't need to have victory in mind to actually enjoy this game. We're basically going to try and survive, is basically our goal in this game. We're just going to try and survive it. Okay, so and the pirates will be respawning, so if I wipe out one faction, another faction will come along and take their place, and they're going to be nearby in proximity. And there's another option, difficulty scales as player near victory, but you know what, I'm probably not going to get anywhere near victory, so I think I'll just leave that unchecked. Okay, so next screen. Generally go Plentiful and Plentiful for both of these. And this basically drives how many colonizable planets are in the universe and stuff like that. So a few more colonizable planets, which means everybody will probably start growing fairly quickly. Independent life, I'm going to leave it Plentiful, and we're going to check that they will be able to convert themselves into full-fledged empires. Okay, and colony influence range, I just go whatever they suggest for whatever size of map I play, so 100%. And I'm going to enforce colony range limits at 0.5. I know I had a suggestion, somebody said put it out so that races can, expand out better, but I kind of like it at 0.5 because it keeps everybody on the map somewhat closely knit. They do spread out when they start invading each other, so it's not a big deal whether this is up here or back at 0.5. So I'm just going to leave it at 0.5 because I kind of like it there. Okay, so in next screen we're going to go to our race. And I did test a game with these settings, and I did try it with the Gizureans, and I did pick them because I wanted another aggressive race to play. And these guys are quite aggressive. And we'll look at more about what they're about when we get in the game. Just a quick overview here, though. They do have a high reproduction rate, which is good for an early start. And they're master engineers, so they have minus 35% to their ship maintenance. Now, that's just ships. It doesn't include bases or anything. That's just the ships. And some resource bonuses we'll get into once we get into the game. Victory conditions, I guess we'll look at when we get in the game. And characters, we're less likely to create a new character leader. Now, this is significant because one of our victory conditions is to keep your empire's leader alive. And we have to do that because it doesn't look like we're going to have much of a chance to get another one. You can run without a leader, but it's not very good. So if you lose the leader, this is actually a victory condition that we're not even going to be constant. I'm going to go with the sandbox. So these probably won't even come into play anyway. So, but yeah, if we lose our leader, it's a minus 100% chance to get another one. So we might be without a leader if we lose one. So we have to take very good care of our leader. And they're more likely to generate troop generals. And special government's hive mind. We'll get more into that in the game. And they have a 7-year cycle change. And for 2 of those years, they have increased population growth, which will help us in the early game as well. And overall, they have a faster construction speed of plus 10. So they're not a bad race as far as an aggressive race goes. So we'll be checking them out. Okay, and once again, I'll be the Caspilians. And that's my own little graphic for a flag I made. It's a dragon or a gecko or something in a sort of a half moon or a moon. And selected my colors. I'm going to appear in the outer core of the galaxy. And home system I'm going to go to Agreeable with. And the reason I'm doing that is because the resource distribution in universe has been altered. If you're coming in from shadows, you're going to notice this. It's going to slap you in the face. You're going to go, where are all the resources? But this is as designed. Sometimes your homeworld will start with no resources. Okay, but they do sort of come along as the game progresses. So you might start off with just say silicon on your home plant, and that is it. But other ones will sort of show up. So I'm going to put that to agreeable just to help us out in that regard. And size is starting, tech level PreWarp, and corruption normal, and there's our hive mind government there. And we'll look at that more once we get in the game. So let's go to other empires. Okay, I'm going to auto-generate, but just before I do that, I just want to point out one thing that is new in Universe. And that is the proximity to you can now be set by sector. Okay, so if I want this race to start in sector C3, I can define them there. Or E2, say put that one to A7. So you can define where everybody starts. So that's new. Before it was just average distance, same system, that sort of thing. The top options here. Those were previous and shadows, and then these are new for Universe. So you can sort of define your game that way. But we're not going to do it that way. We're going to auto-generate the maximum number. So I can't put that, 19 is the maximum I can go. So I can't put that up any further. So we're going to have 19 other races in the game, plus pirates, plus independents. So it's going to be a very, very busy map. And we are going to allow the independent alien colonies to start new empires. Okay, so victory conditions. We're going sandbox. So I've unchecked everything here. So there are no victory conditions other than last man standing. So I get the feeling we won't get anywhere near a victory in this game. I'm not planning to. I'm just planning to have some fun without even thinking about a victory. So the only storyline I do not have enabled is the Return of the Shakturi storyline. I've already done a video series on them, and that is the story time. If we just pop into here again, that's story time. I did this series with all the stories enabled. So if you want to check out the Shakturi storyline, go to that series and have a look. Like I said, it's no problem watching Shadow's videos, even though you're playing Universe. It's still all relevant. So everything else is enabled there. Allow tech trading. I'm still sort of undecided whether I'm going to bother clicking that off or not. I'm going to leave it on. I don't do a whole lot of it anymore, but the other races will amongst themselves too. So you got to consider that. It's not just you that's going to be trading. It's going to be them as well with each other. So they could all trade all the tech with each other and then come and clobber you, sort of thing. And this is a new setting in Universe. We're going to allow giant kelters at start a game. So it's going to be a pretty aggressive game, I think. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to end this episode here. I will start the game and let it generate. And then when we come back, we will be in game and we'll get this thing going and see how long I can survive. So if you're still with me, thanks for joining me, and we'll catch you in the next episode.